like a little thing that he said in the song, and I'm a Michael Jackson fan, like die hard, so like I make a lot of disco music inspired by his music. It's kind of like French house music from the 90s, but I just recreate it with synth, make like retro pop 80s music. So it's a
Yeah, yeah. You describe your sound as like 80s vintage synth.
yes.
Like you said hip hop, but also like 80s vintage synth.
Yeah. I make hip hop and a lot of different kinds of music, but Sugarfly is strictly a 80s synth project going on.
Oh, yeah, okay, because I was gonna ask you just kind of about like having multiple personas. And because I actually like when I was first exploring your music on SoundCloud, I was first getting into Mr. Nuri, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and how are those projects different?
Mr. Nuri is it it was my first name. I was making a lot of techno and a lot of hip hop, different kinds of stuff. And I kind of wanted a artist image instead of just like a beat maker image. So I kept thinking of I'm really also inspired by Daft Punk too, so they're kind of one who I kind of take a lot of the imagery from and a lot of the 80s disco feel from. So basically the separation between Sugarfly and Mr. Nerd. Mr. Nerd was an old name that would just be something that I would use to accept emails as a professional name,
Yeah.
and then Sugarfly would be more of an artist project going on. I plan on singing in the future and producing bigger albums.
Oh, okay. So like you're way more than just a beat maker. Like it seems like you know your artist persona has a lot of dimensions to it, and I mean I don't know. Like I guess my deeper question within all that is like between Sugarfly and Mr. Nuri, are they different personas, or are you simply just trying to do different?
An 80s superhero, if you should say. He's more of a character Sugarfly. There's there's a lot of 80s uh, montage films that I have going on in my head,
Yeah.
and I grew up in the 90s and the late 80s, so a lot of the commercials inspired me, a lot of the lifestyle, anything from any old commercials from the 90s. It just that we grew up in an era where VHS tapes, we heard the popping
Yeah.
to the Disney movies in the beginning, and that's something that us as like 90s kids, we remember and we have to share that, and I want to recreate that feeling with other people and
Yeah.
share that feeling of growing up and your mother putting on a Disney
Yeah.
tape for you or any type of a VHS, hearing the popping and just you got those that food coming ready when your mother was preparing everything, those old feelings.
Yeah, kind of like this like nostalgia,
Yes.
like you know how some other languages have words that you can't translate, like in Portuguese, I guess like like the idea of saudade, like like that word that just sort of means like this really deep, profound nostalgia. Sorry, I'm learning Portuguese, and and these are the moments where I like to bring it in, and then I just realize like I'm just a nerd who's into esoteric shit, but like I feel like you are too,
Yes.
which is why like you put your project on cassette tape. I mean, is this sort of the medium that you're gonna like release your project in? Like, are you just gonna be a true purist about that?
Yes.
And really, like, you're not because I noticed on SoundCloud, like I was exploring your SoundCloud just to identify like cohesive projects. It didn't seem like you had any in a digital format at least.
Oh, well, you can go on my Bandcamp and get a
Oh,
digital
okay,
format.
okay, my bad. Okay, your Bandcamp is the one that's like organized and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sugarfly, it was a bunch of ideas that finally came down to
Mm.
Sugarfly. Before I was making a lot of French house music in the beginning, and it like if you hear like a lot of French house from the 90s, I was really inspired by that. So back like probably like 7 years ago, I was just pumping out that stuff hard, and then I got into just recreating disco songs with like a synth. Then my dad got me a synth, and I started really synthing it out and playing a lot of keys out. After that, I just I eventually got a Korg micro, and then I picked up one of these, and then I
Mm.
started really getting more serious with making actual tracks.
Yeah, I mean, like speaking of your equipment, what the hell are we dealing with? Because I mean, I've never seen anything like this. This sort of looks like a child's toy, or like, I don't know, just some sort of like futuristic Tetris game drawing. Like,
Well,
what is this?
this right here, this is more like a child's toy. This is a core. No, this is a SP404SX. You can put samples inside of it. You can make any, beats. There's a lot of possibilities with this. One night you're sitting with this, and it's battery powered too. So if you don't have any electricity for the night, you're good with this.
Yeah.
Bringing this out. But making one beat with this, the possibilities after that, you can make about 30 different beats, maybe even 100 if you put your mind to it. This right here is a chaos pad. It's touch effects, dynamics effects
I love
sampler.
that. Yeah,
It's
I
got a mute
know.
button. It does
I
a
love
lot.
how it's called a chaos pad. Like that's really appropriate. Like that just makes me think of like some sort of, but in a minute I want to get into your set. One of the ones that you prepared for tonight. Um what's in it? Like old stuff, new stuff?
With the hip hop stuff, there's a lot of old stuff. With the Sugarfly stuff, a lot of the Sugarfly stuff is new stuff. So, whichever one you'd like to choose, I can get into. I can get into the Mr. Nuri stuff first, or I can get into the Sugarfly stuff first.
Hmm.
Well, I'm Sugarfly, so let's get into the
You want
Sugarfly
to get
stuff
into the
today.
Sugarfly stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get right on into it.
All right.
It's okay. Okay. Um, we're back in tune to Back to Beirut, and we're in the studio with Sugar Fly, and that was honestly a really awesome set.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
very
and
much.
it's containing everything um on your new project, which I'm gonna like shamelessly like hold up like this because there's a visual component to this now, which I'm actually super psyched about, and I can just kind of like hold things up in this like awkward like product placement sort of way. But this is your product,
Yeah.
and you know we're placing it, and that's totally fine because it's awesome.
Yep. Advertise that QVC style.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's so cool and so original. And with that, I kind of want to present like the second gift that you got us because we're talking about like multiple personas here, and it's I don't know, it's like persona inception with you sort of because um you you have many music artist personas, but you're also a clothing designer and an illustrator.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, so this is an example of kind of both, like both a clothing design and an illustration. Um, because I think you've shown me this image as like one of your like uh kind of more, I don't know, trademark images.
Yes.
Yeah.
I draw a lot of grotesque images. I try to get really disgusting with it. And my a lot of my inspiration comes from Ren and Stimpy. If you were to like
Yeah.
watch them in the 90s, they always zoomed in onto some nasty fingernail or some crusty toes or something, and I just wanted to challenge myself and draw something so disgusting.
Is it because it like revolts you? Like, is it because you don't enjoy it? Is it sort of a sadistic sort of
I
thing?
don't know, it's
Or are you just like one of those people who just like takes a weird satisfaction from that? Like, I don't know, when people watch like zits being popped or like just
ooh.
other I know,
I
like
secretly love to have like to watch zits being popped, so that's
no.
probably along the lines of it.
Oh my God. I feel like that stuff is so gross. But I mean I think your art is cool, so you've managed to sort of find this I don't know, this you managed to find that sweet spot between like grotesque and marketable, I guess. So
Yeah,
good for you.
thank you.
What is your secret exactly?
Um, I don't know. I'm just weird. Being
Yeah.
naturally weird.
And does that kind of come out in your music?
Yes.
Um
I'm from Massachusetts and I make house music. Springfield, Massachusetts at that, and I
yeah.
make house music. Everybody over there is not like that, you know. I'm like a wallflower. I don't really fit in, so
Wait, are you saying that everyone over there is a normie? Because like I went to college out there in that
well, they're not
area. Well, maybe in like our college bubbles, we thought we were so
just as
like
artists. A lot of people tend to go towards the more hip hop, you know, area where you don't find a lot of electronic musician out there.
yeah. Well, I was actually gonna ask you about that because I was like pretty heavily involved with the scene out there. Like I would get showcases going. I've had Layer perform Stocky Poppy when that was a project.
Yes.
Machakos Chalo, like everyone, and I've had a lot of them on my show too. Um, but I mean, what do you have to say about that music scene out there? Because the hip hop scene is just like a very small community.
I love the music scene in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
There's a from the people that I know who support me, like Lairface, Stocky Poppy. everybody over here that has come with me. Shout out
Mm.
to Edo. Shout out to Frankie. Shout out to Layerface. Shout out to Machakos. Shout out to DJ Lucas. Shout out to everybody that we've partied with in a basement and
Yeah.
shared each other's music. Shout out to you for bringing me here.
No,
Just
shout out to you.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so you love it. It's a really close-knit um community, but I mean, I don't know, do you I kind of feel like it's heading somewhere, you know? Like I know um a lot of people like the beauty about that community is that like um they don't care who they appeal to, you know? It's about having fun. It's about getting to it's about friends just like, you
Yes.
know, like who fuck with each other
Yeah.
basically. And um I don't know. Do you have anything more to say about it? Like what makes it unique and where do you think it can go?
I don't know what makes it unique, but I'll say 2 years ago I had one of the best summers. We had a lot of shows going on. Matter of fact, this was like a really dark period for me. Like I had no electricity. Me
Mm.
and my girlfriend broke up. Music was all right there at that point. It was also helping me, gain my relationship back with the negative in my life. And we were partying at with Brian and Anna. Shout out to Brian and Anna. All those
Oh
parties,
yeah.
we had the basement, the attic going crazy. We It was just a very magical summer, and we shared each other's music. There was a lot of support going on within the Western Mass community, and I know from there they kind of helped me stay on the road and keep focused and bring Sugarfly, make it come alive more. The day that I
Yeah.
was at Bishop's Lounge and Layerface, I was trying to explain to him what the Sugarfly project would be,
Mhm.
and I just felt like nobody was understanding what I was talking about. I was trying to recreate 80s music, and they're like, some people are thinking, oh, are you just gonna sample 80s music? And I'm like, no, I want to recreate it. I want to recreate that scent, that feeling. So then Layerface said on the mic one day, he said, "Oh, Mr. Nuri's gonna be the next Prince from there." I was like, "Well, I have to fulfill that now. I have to be the next biggest electronic musician, the next disco. There's all the disco artists from before, and now we got Calvin Harris that's helping bring that into hip hop. And
Yeah.
there's got to be more people to come in, and I feel like I got a lot to give with disco.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I think so too, and like I'm trying to use this platform for you and all people like you to reach that greater audience because I just think that y'all deserve to be heard. Um it's just such an awesome tight knit community, and would you say you're proud of where you're from?
yes,
Yeah?
it's from being different in from where I live. It's helped me a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the greater sort of greater Boston, Massachusetts hip hop scene? I don't really know like too many beat makers out here. Like I'm getting to know them. A guy named D Phrase was on my show. Another beat maker. Lightfoot was on a couple weeks ago. Definitely makes sense that like those folks preceded you. It's been like a whole month of beat makers coming on, and it's been awesome. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's so much talent around here, but Boston just does not get recognized for it, or Massachusetts doesn't get recognized for it. What do you think
It's
that's
a
attributed
it's
to?
a it's a big it's a big world of music out there.
Yeah.
Kids are growing up. They want to be rappers. They want to be beat makers, rock stars. As the world, grows more people
Yeah.
grow. There's so much. It's such a concentration of musicians out there. It's gonna get harder and harder and harder for people not to get noticed. Especially being me from Massachusetts. I'm maybe one guy from Springfield doing electronic music, but there's tons of guys in France doing this kind of music. So me going out there bringing my little mixtape is nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we are nothing over here. It's just a big world out there to try and get all of our music out there, and
Mm.
to try to have someone even click on to our link and listen to it.
Yeah. No, I feel you. There's a lot of competition going on, and a lot of people like you know doing like really similar shit. I don't know. There's like a lot of like there's a lot of competition, and it's definitely like a dog eat dog world. Definitely like a really hyper capitalist society because music, it's not as meaningful anymore. It's kind of more become a little bit of a brand. Um, and yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you had to say about that. In a couple of minutes, we're gonna get back into your set. It's gonna be more like Mr. Nuri stuff, which I mean, I kind of think that's a little more like chilled out. Would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot more chill hip hop beats, a lot of lo-fi hip hop beats. From that side, I'm really just inspired by a lot of the Adult Swim type of vibes that they got going on late night with their bumps.
Yeah.
Ever since I heard those, I wanted to start making beats like that. I didn't feel like my beats were enough, so I wanted to give it a little bit of punch, and you can still hear a bit of a little VHS pop going on within the Mr. Nuri side.
Awesome. I love it. Before we get into it, I feel like I didn't give you a real chance to talk about your clothing. Are you is it are did you make what you're wearing or no?
No, I didn't make this. This is actually from Forever 21.
Oh, well you're still rocking it. But I mean like how would you describe your style? Is it just a lot of your drawings but like on t-shirts and like other different sort of graphics that you do?
Well, right now, my style isn't what my I have a lot. I design clothes a lot.
Mm.
I like to remix a lot of clothes. So I sew clothes. I'll do a lot of bleaching. I'll take clothes apart and put put it back together with something else. Kind of look at clothes as like when you got a when you got a song and you want to sample that song and you want to put some drums on it and
Yeah.
stuff like that and some hi-hats. It's like that with clothes. Even when the guy made this shirt, it was a simple hoodie and he decided to put holes in it, put a lot of stuff on there, and now it's a dope hoodie, not just a regular hoodie. So like I have a deep passion for designing clothes also.
Yeah.
I want clothes, and the thing is like it's hard to, we don't have money to go to H&M and buy a $50 t-shirt.
Yeah.
So from there, I was like, I'm not buying any more shirts. If I buy a hoodie, it's going to be one that I cannot obtain by myself by making it. So the only thing I'm on right now is just buying pants, and I want to design all my shirts. So with clothes, I don't want to say too much, but I'm coming up with a windbreaker brand right now. I'm
Yeah.
also coming up with a fanny pack brand. A lot of it's based off of the 90s vibe. A
Yeah.
lot of bright colors, color block going on. And I have something else where I'm making, well, I'm not making the jean jackets. I'm getting a lot of the jean jackets thrifted from Goodwill, cleaning them up, and putting patches on it and making interchangeable hoodies, detachable hoods to go
Mhm.
with it. So that way you're not buying a jacket and you don't want the hoodie that day. You have one jacket, you can switch back and forth. You'll get three of them
Yeah, you can
with a
mix
whole
and
package.
match.
Yep.
Yeah, that's honestly a brilliant idea. I can't wait to see that. I can't. Where can we find your clothes, by the way? There's a website, right?
Yes. nurixwear.bigcartel.com. NURIXWEAR.bigcartel.com. You can also find it on Etsy.com. You can type in Cold Worn, COLDWORN, Cold Worn.
Wonderful. Well, look for Sugarfly's clothes, look for his music on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. And with that, let's hear another set from you.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Okay, you're back with us. This is Back to Beirut. I'm Hallucinations, and I'm here with Sugarfly. That was a sick set.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
very
that was
much.
awesome. I just felt like you were mad into it. Am I am I right?
Yes.
Like I just felt like you were feeling it. Like I don't know. I have those moments too when I'm mixing, and it usually just kind of takes like a long time to kind of like, or at least like 10 minutes to
Yes.
like really just sort of like build it up, feel like you're just in the zone and just in that creative flow. Um, I think your Mr. Nuri stuff is awesome.
Thank you very much.
And I don't know, do you think like uh there's a you talk about like alternate persona. We were talking about alternate personas earlier. I don't know how you feel about like with your fans who like Mr. Nuri, how much they'll relate to the Sugar Fly stuff. I mean, like fundamentally, I hear you in it. Um you bring yourself into it. You bring your own style. It definitely has like your signature, but can fans of your older stuff adapt to your newer material?
People that I know, but it's really hard for me to get a lot of fans from my Mr. Nuri page to start following on the Sugarfly. A lot of these guys are just into lo-fi. So a lot of people, they have an open mind about it, but for the followers on the internet, it's just mainly trying to get them to know who I am
Yeah.
because switching from one project is kind of confusing. So that's why I was gonna just take Mr. Nuri down, but
Mm.
I wanted to keep pumping like the hip hop stuff,
Yeah.
and I also just really had a deep passion for Sugarfly, so I just kind of kept them both around. I
Mhm.
had the Sugarfly it went through so much different names. At first,
Yeah.
it was DJ DVD. I
Mhm.
tried to. It was gonna be like Shakazan because I was gonna be like some, like like some '80s like superhero. But like I tried to. I was trying to get people to relate, so I kind of figured Sugarfly would be a more for a singer's name, like an '80s singer,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Superfly or something like that.
Yeah, so that's basically just like the vibe that you were going for. Not like really nothing to do with like flies actually or
No,
anything.
no,
Yeah, there's like nothing really about it.
just really
Um
sweet beats. A lot of if you were to translate the beats into a taste, it would be sugary, nice and
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, and that's why you kind of have that sugar high.
Yes,
And yeah, the sugar fly stuff is like a lot more playful and like kind of more um whimsical. It kind of feels like a sugar high. It kind of feels like you were talking about that nostalgia and
yes,
kind of like that child at heart. I don't know. Do you think that's important for artists to connect with?
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. That's what I do every time I make music is connect with the inner child inside of me,
Yeah.
deep down inside. Go back into the all the old memories and be like, I remember that.
Mhm.
Sometimes I make one beat for a whole week and I'll sit there and just listen to it all day. I don't want to sound self-centered, but you got to be
No.
proud of your work and you got to enjoy the stuff that you do. So there sometimes I'll go months and I'll just be like, "Wow, I can't believe I made this." And I'm just like the thoughts that come to my head when I
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah. I no, I think that's beautiful. I think you should have that kind of pride in your stuff. Like I don't know why people are just like you listen to your own music. It's just like yeah, like I made this. I have pride in it. Like for like now I can finally stop like staying up all night and just going insane because like the music I've been hearing in my head is finally like recorded and I can just play it over and over
Hmm.
again instead of just my mind playing it over and over again so I never forget it.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean like there's also a little bit of a obsessive personality kind of like that's a little bit of a trope among artists and definitely like sort of unhealthy lifestyles and habits are totally celebritized. That's like that's been my word lately, celebritized.
Yeah.
um totally celebritized in the artist community and I'm just wondering how you combat that because like you don't have to be this wholesome like sugary sweet pun sort of intended kind of person. You can just be yourself, but how do you not sabotage yourself?
Keep keep a balance
Yeah.
with my lifestyle. I have to run a family at the same time as
Hmm.
try to be Sugarfly. I can't be Sugarfly all the time. When I get home, I have kids. I have to
Yeah.
be dad to the kids. I can't be Sugarfly. My area is a mess. I have to I have to keep it maintained. I have to make sure I'm constantly keeping Sugarfly maintained at the same time as keeping my family happy because it's hard to be a musician. And in reality, I may not be able to travel at times, but I
Yeah.
traveled from Springfield all the way over here.
Thank you for doing
Yeah.
that. I feel like slightly like my heart hurts cuz like I'm thinking of your kids, but at least they could go on YouTube and
Oh,
see
they're
you.
good right now.
Yeah, oh
I
yeah,
made sure I gave
okay.
them baths and everything before I leave, cleaned up the house, do my part, and then get out of there.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's amazing and just like thank you for being here. I mean like
Thank you.
been it's been an absolute pleasure. We have about 2 minutes left on our show and I just really want to thank you again for being here. I am Seven Hallucinations. That's like at seven ELUCINTIONS on like SoundCloud and and not Tumblr anymore, but like pretty much everything else, and of course Back to Beirut on Facebook and Sugarfly. You have a SoundCloud, Bandcamp, and what
Yes.
else?
Bandcamp, Etsy, SoundCloud. You can go on SoundCloud and type in SGRFLI. Do not type in Sugarfly because you won't find it. You can go on Bandcamp and type in Sugarfly, SUGARFLI. You can also go on my Etsy account and type in Cold Worn, COLDWORN. And you can also go on my big cartel and type in Nuri X Wear, Nuri NURIXWEAR at bigcartel.com, and everything will be shipped to you right on time.
Wonderful. Right before we get back into some music, I just want to take a moment of airtime to highlight everything going on in Texas with the flood. Estimates say that like about like 40,000 houses have been destroyed, thousands of people displaced, and it might take about like $125 billion to recover from this, and it might take many years. I don't have all the time in the world right now to tell you what you can do to help, but definitely contact your representatives. And there's tons of resources online to charitable organizations, and definitely call the Red Cross to report whether or not you're safe. And yeah, sorry, I always like to take a moment
No, it's
just to
okay.
highlight something real going on in the world.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and please take us out with some original music.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That shit don't feel right. It made me put away my pride. Prince Nights on the this is going on.